Man loses hands and feet to unusual case of strep throat. A father of 3 from Michigan is thankful to be alive after suffering an extremely rare case of strep throat that led to the amputation of his hands and feet. 44-year-old Kevin Breen's body went into severe septic shock when a strep throat infection made its way into his abdomen, causing 3 liters of pus to surround his organs. Side effects from the medication that saved Breen's life shut off blood to his hands and feet, leaving doctors with no option but to amputate. Streptococcal pharyngitis is an infection caused by the group A Streptococcus bacteria. The most common symptoms include a sore throat, fever, and swollen lymph nodes. Other common symptoms are red swollen tonsils and tiny red spots on the roof of the mouth. Strep throat spreads through contact with droplets from an infected person's sneeze or cough. Typically, this occurs when a person comes into contact with the bacteria and then touches their eyes, mouth, or nose. It's also possible to catch strep throat by drinking from the same glass or eating from the same plate as an infected person, or by touching skin sores caused by the bacteria. Doctors believe Kevin Breen caught strep throat after his son was infected with the bacteria. Doctors stressed, however, that cases such as Breen's are extremely rare and advised anyone with a sore throat to seek medical attention. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Rare diseases can strike when least expected.
Rare genetic skin disease afflicts Brazilian village. The largest single group of people suffering from a genetic disease known as xeroderma pigmentosum, or XP, live in Araras in central Brazil, where their skin rapidly breaks down under the tropical sun. The disease places an enormous burden on this community, as it relies on farming and outdoor work to survive. UV rays can penetrate the skin's thick epidermis to reach inner skin cells. While most individuals can naturally recover from exposure to sunlight, people born with XP do not have the ability to repair UV damage. Those afflicted with the skin disorder are highly sensitive to UV rays and are prone to developing freckles and small lumps at a young age. Many eventually die from skin tumors. The village was founded by just a few families in which several members were carriers of the disease. Researchers say that the geographic isolation of the region made marriages between cousins common, greatly increasing the incidence of XP.
Drug allergic reaction peels away 90% of students' skin. A Georgia grad student was left almost blind and without a vast majority of her skin following a rare allergic reaction to a common drug used to treat seizures and mood disorders. Meet Kalia Shah, a public health graduate student at Georgia College and State University. Back in 2013, Shah was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and prescribed lamotrigine. Within a month of taking the medication, she developed a weird rash on her face and noticed her lips were always peeling off. Doctors initially told her she had the flu, but one night she woke up with an excruciating pain and thought she was having a nightmare when her hair, face, and fingernails started to fall off right before her very eyes. Doctors decided to put the 24-year-old into medically induced coma to alleviate her pain and eventually diagnosed her with Stevens-Johnson syndrome. SJS is a rare disorder that starts off with flu-like symptoms and attacks the top layer of the skin, forming a rash that spreads into blisters. It eventually makes the layers of the epidermis shed and fall. The disease is caused by toxins from a drug or an infection, which if not treated can even prove fatal. Shah awoke after 5 weeks to find 90% of her skin, nails, and nearly all of her hair gone. The brave young woman has undergone a long road to recovery, which has included seizure treatments and months spent at a burn center. 13 months in, Shah says it still haunts her to think about what the doctors did to her at the hospital. She had to postpone her studies because of her vision and has since started a blog to cope with the impact of her unfortunate illness.
2-year-old girl fights with giant mole covering her body. A 2-year-old Taiwanese girl named Qiqi was born with bathing truck nevus, or giant congenital melanocytic nevi, due to mutations in her cells. The huge nevus spread from her left face, upper back, and 2 legs to most parts of her right arm, covering 10% of her body. When Chi-Chi was born, I was hesitated whether to tell my wife about the rare syndrome. I waited until she received postpartum care and spoke about it. She found it hard to accept. The elders were very worried after they saw the girl. They couldn't eat and became very anxious. But we all love her very much. Still, when we check her out, we hope that other people won't stare at her. Melanocytic nevus disrupted the formation of Chi-Chi's sweat glands within the nevus and causes her skin to crust over and itch. Chi-Chi scratches all the time, making it bleed, so her mother has to frequently apply lotion on her dry skin. Her fragile skin peels and bleeds as long as it's being rubbed. Her left arm is very dry. These are the scars from scratching. A nurse introduced us to a doctor, Dr. Zhuang Xiushu at Linkou Chang'an Memorial Hospital, a cosmetic surgeon with experience treating such diseases. I'm not sure if it's the right decision for my daughter to undergo surgery. I set up a Facebook page to share my experience with those whose child is suffering from the same condition. Because I've also received a lot of help and support from others. This is her happiest moment.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Flesh-eating bug destroys man's life. A British man who survived a rare flesh-eating infection, only for it to return a second time, said his life had been ruined by the disease. Car salesman Lee Murphy has been infected twice with necrotizing fasciitis, which eats the body's soft tissue. The 37-year-old from County Durham in the northeast of England was first diagnosed with the killer condition just over a year ago. The bug destroyed the flesh on his right leg, all the way from his thigh to his foot. Murphy spent 5 days in a coma, and doctors gave him just 12 hours to live at one point. But his life was saved by a series of skin grafts, as he underwent a total of 16 operations. Murphy began to recover, but in February this year, the disease came back, this time on the back of his right leg. The flesh-eating bug has stripped away his skin and eaten his calf muscle, leaving him on crutches. According to Public Health England, it is extremely rare, though not unheard of, for a patient to contract necrotizing fasciitis twice. Murphy said he wanted to raise awareness of the condition, as he waited to see if his latest skin graft operations were successful.
Thai woman suffering rare disease has enormous hands. Holding a world record isn't always so wonderful. A 59-year-old Thai woman named Samakasama currently holds a world record for the largest hands, but the distinction has caused her a great amount of pain. A rare disease has made it so her arms won't stop growing. Each arm now weighs about 20 pounds. It hurts like hell whenever she tries to move them. Samakasama has been suffering from the disease since her 20s. She's undergone surgery after surgery, but nothing has been successful. The doctors have been unable to identify the cause of her disease. They have suggested amputating to end her pain, but she says she does not want to lose her hands. Samakasama is currently making a living as a thrift shop owner.
This is Sam Burns, now the most well-known face of progeria, an extremely rare, terminal genetic disorder in which sufferers manifest signs of rapid aging in early childhood. On January 10, he died, aged 17. The only child of Scott Burns and Leslie Gordon, Sam exhibited symptoms at just 2 months of age and was diagnosed with the disorder just before his second birthday. At that time, virtually nobody understood progeria. But perhaps even more improbable than his condition, both his parents are trained pediatricians, and their tireless search to find an effective treatment has led to major breakthroughs. The condition is one of the world's rarest. Researchers believe that at any given time there are 250 cases worldwide at most. People with the condition live to an average age of just 13 and typically die from heart attacks or strokes. At the time of his death, Sam had been planning to apply to colleges where he hoped to study genetics or cell biology. Besides his parents, he is survived by 3 grandparents.